Hey there, it's Matt Cowell, CEO at QuantHub, and welcome to our first edition of Coffee is for Closers. Coffee is for entrepreneurs. I mean, coffee is for closers, but let's be honest, coffee is also certainly for entrepreneurs. And so in this series, it's just basically a weekly musing on topics related to entrepreneurship, product positioning, learning, people. And so the topic for this week, this first week, is focus. And it's really that concept of singular focus. One of the things that I've heard a lot during this coronavirus craziness where we're all stuck at home and our businesses are struggling, we're trying to figure out how we preserve cash flow, how we survive through a down period like this. Who knows what's to come with the economy. And so there's a lot of talk about focus, and oftentimes it goes towards focusing on the single thing that you do best and actually leveraging that or doubling down on that, if you will, to deliver on success for your company and weather these times. And you know what's interesting to me is I believe in prioritization. I don't necessarily always believe in focus the way it's talked about. The way people talk about focus oftentimes is you want to focus on that one thing that you're great at. And my take is you're going to miss opportunities when you do so. Think about the last downturn we had, 2008, 2009, and what companies came out of that: Uber, Airbnb, Dropbox, Slack, Square. So those companies could have been founded by other organizations that were already in those spaces, but they weren't. And so why was that? And you know, I think part of it is oftentimes we are too focused. We're too focused on ourselves. We're too focused on what it is that we're doing and how we're doing it, as opposed to, you know, really broadening our horizons, broadening our view of the world. And now I think more than most times is a tremendous opportunity for that type of bigger worldview, that desire to see opportunities that are there, to think bigger, to not actually focus on one thing, to take every opportunity and everything that you're working on and see what else is it that we could solve in the same project that we're working on right now or with the same process. I think, you know, there are plenty of organizations and startups and businesses that have died because they weren't very focused. So I certainly get that concept. And I would say maybe focus to me is the wrong word, and it's about prioritization. So while we may think about a lot of different things we could do, it is important, absolutely critically important, to make sure you prioritize and you don't have too many balls in the air at any one given time. You're context switching and all that type of thing. I certainly have seen that, and that is very difficult to overcome. It's about finding those opportunities to be differentiated, finding those opportunities that surface because things are so chaotic right now and so uncertain. There are opportunities that exist today that did not exist 3 months ago. And I think if you're too focused on what it is you do and how you do it, you're going to miss those. And so I'd love to hear what people think. This is, you know, kind of just something that I've been thinking about a lot lately, because there are a lot of people writing about focus. You know, one example I was thinking about is Amazon. Amazon actually started, the cloud business, AWS. And so if they were only focused on what it was that they did well and where they fit, they would have never started that. And the same thing so they sort of self-disrupted. Same thing for Netflix. What were they good at? They were good at distributing DVDs, and then they were good at streaming content. They weren't great at producing content. Now what do people think of them as? They think of them as a content producer, an original content producer. And so that type of reinvention comes from thinking bigger. It doesn't come from focus and focusing on just one thing. It comes from prioritization, but not just necessarily focusing on one thing. So I'd love to hear your comments. And in this first edition of Coffee is for Entrepreneurs, it's just something I've been thinking about a lot, and I'd love to get a discussion going around it and see what other entrepreneurs, other business people think. Thanks, and I'll see you next week.